and the Giganotosaurus. But there has been debate over how large the dinosaur was, which hasn't been helped by the current lack of incomplete fossils. In 2005, a study used a Spinosaurus skull to measure it about 16 to 18 meters long or 52 to 59 feet. That's the size of two London buses, one behind the other. However, a 2007 study disagreed with the method of the 2005 study and suggested the Spinosaurus was actually between 12.6 and 14.3 meters long or 41 to 47 feet, so about as long as a semi-trailer truck. More recently, a partial Spinosaurus skeleton has been analyzed at 15.2 meters long, about 50 feet, and was found to be still growing at the time of its death. The same sense of speculation applies. How much the Spinosaurus weighed: estimates weigh this dinosaur at between 12 to 20 kilograms, or between 13 and 22 tons in body mass. Spinosaurus roughly translates to spined reptile or spine lizard, a name gained for the sail on its back, which is created by long spines growing from the creature's back vertebrae. The spines were dense bones which could grow up to 2.1 meters long or about 7 feet, and probably had a layer of skin connecting each spine. This fascinating feature has been the subject of debate amongst researchers, with many suggesting the following functions for the Spinosaurus sail. One theory is that the sail, when fully extended, safeguarded the Spinosaurus from any potential predators. The Spinosaurus is already the largest carnivore to exist, but with its sail extended it could have appeared twice its size, especially because with its flexible spine and ball and socket joints in the vertebrae, the dinosaur could have arched its back to really emphasize its sail. Some researchers, like paleontologist Jack Bowman Bailey, believe this sail wasn't a sail at all, but a large humpback stromer. When he first described the Spinosaurus, theorized that the spines were a fatty hump like a bison. Bailey disagreed with what he called the fashionably anorexic image of many large dinosaurs, and argued instead that the hump would have acted like heat shielding and energy storage. Through gigantothermy. Gigantothermy is a process that enables large animals like dinosaurs to maintain constant high body temperature through a large body and insulation. Published in 1997, Bailey's theory held weight when it was thought that the Spinosaurus lived in hot, dry environments where it would need to protect itself from perishing in the heat. But now we know they lived in swampy areas. In a similar vein to Bailey's theory, some researchers suggested the sail was actually a hump to store fat. In much like a camel in camels, this fatty tissue can be used for sustenance when food sources are limited. Finally, the most popular theory at the moment is that this sail would have been ideal for recognizing and communicating with other members of its species. Nizar Ibrahim told the news website Live Science that the sail was likely used as a display structure. It would have been visible from far away, and even when the animal was swimming this way, the animal could convey information about its age, size, and gender to other animals, in particular other Spinosaurus. Some paleontologists think the sails were brightly colored, which would have been great for display purposes. The long, narrow skull of a Spinosaurus was 1.75 meters, about 6 feet long, almost the size of an entire velociraptor. The skull resembles a crocodile skull, but had nostrils near the eyes instead of at the end of the snout. The Spinosaurus had flat cone-shaped teeth in a long, slim snout. These attributes were ideal to feast on fish like coelacanth, sawfish, lungfish, and sharks, all creatures that were plentiful in the Kemkem riverbeds in northern Africa. We know this because the teeth weren't serrated, so the Spinosaurus couldn't rip into a tough hide. This dinosaur may have fed using a grasp smash or grasp crunch method for hunting and eating, getting into fish with harder scales and crustaceans. A 2020 study suggested that the Spinosaurus had very fast tooth replacement rates, especially compared to a Bell Assurance and Allosaurids, which again would have helped it crunch into crustaceans and armored fish. If you were unlucky enough to have a Spinosaurus open its mouth whilst you were stood in front of it, you'd see some large slanted teeth interlocking at the end of the snout. Next, you'd find a row of 6 or 7 thin, sharp teeth on each side of the upper jaw. Behind these were 12 more teeth. There has also been a chemical analysis which tells us the preferred diet of a Spinosaurus. In a 2010 study, scientists looked at a tooth enamel on fossils and found the Spinosaurus teeth were comparable to crocodiles and turtles. The Spinosaurus may have also eaten the carcasses of other dinosaurs. As we mentioned before, in 2004, researchers found a pterosaur bone with a Spinosaur tooth stuck in it. If the ancestors of the Spinosaurus were scavenging, the Spinosaurus could have possibly also scavenged non-aquatic creatures. There are currently two theories on how the Spinosaurus lived, and hunted paleontologist David Hone calls these the waiting model and the pursuit predator model, respectively. Some researchers believe in one theory over the other. Think the situation was actually a bit of both. What's the difference between these two theories? This line of thought thinks the Spinosaurus was an opportunist. They would forage for fish, catch prey on the shorelines and land, and even dig for prey like the lungfish. This adaptability would have given the Spinosaurus an edge over other theropods when it came to hunting. This idea is supported by the fact we have no other evidence of a large semi-land-dwelling creature that lives solely on fishing. This theory could also be applied to other spinosaurids based on what we know so far. The other theory suggests the Spinosaurus was a specialist and specifically an aquatic predator, based on aspects of the Spinosaurus like its tail, high limbs, and interlocking teeth. Those who believe in the pursuit predator model suggest the Spinosaurus spent more time in the water rather than on land, which leads us on to our next topic of debate. For a long time, the Spinosaurus was depicted with a long tail that narrows at the end, much like many of its theropod ancestors. Scientists believe this tail was rigid and helped the Spinosaurus balance. A tail like this would have helped the Spinosaurus if it was crawling and wading in shallow water. But recent discoveries have shed new light on the Spinosaurus and its tail when researchers in Morocco found a large paddle-shaped tail in 2018. They realized it was the most complete tail of a Spinosaurus ever discovered. The fossil had long struts sticking out from the vertebrae, which are the small bones that make up the tail. The end of the tail is flexible, capable of moving back and forth, which would have helped the Spinosaurus power through water. Nizar Ibrahim is the lead researcher studying this new fossil discovery, and described this tail as basically a dinosaur trying to build a fishtail. This tail is perfect for aquatic life in North Africa. 95 million years ago, a place with significant river systems. This tail reopens the debate on how Spinosaurus lived. You see, some researchers believe that a Spinosaurus was semi-aquatic, spending some time on land and spending some time in the water. Here are 7 reasons why researchers thought this. Number 1, with more compact and dense bones compared to theropods who lived on land, the Spinosaurus would have more control over its buoyancy. When swimming underwater, you can find bones of similar density in penguins and manatees, both semi-aquatic creatures. In fact, when researching the bone density of the Spinosaurus, scientists gathered data on 250 living and extinct land-dwelling and water-dwelling creatures. Bone density is important for aquatic and semi-aquatic creatures. Dense bones will allow an animal to submerge itself into water. It is worth mentioning that other dinosaurs also had very dense bones. However, this doesn't mean they swam. Groups like the sauropods had dense limb bones to help cope with the body weight pushed upon those limbs, but some of their bones were much more lightweight. Dr. Matteo Fabri and Dr. Guillermo Navalin, who co-led the study on Spinosaurus bone density, made sure to look at a variety of bones from each animal in their study, which was the aforementioned study involving 250 subject specimens, to make sure they were getting the full picture. Number 2, this dinosaur had stubby hind legs. This style of short back legs have also been found in early whales and other animals that spend a lot of time in water, which again strengthens the argument that the Spinosaurus spent time underwater. The Spinosaurus also had wide, flat feet, which are ideal for paddling. Number 3, these legs and feet supported a barrel-shaped torso, which you can find in some modern-day aquatic mammals like dolphins. Number 4, their small nostrils were in the middle of the Spinosaurus skull. This is useful if you're a creature trying to breathe whilst partially underwater. Number 5, lots of spinosaurid teeth have been found amongst the Chemcom area of Morocco, in areas that would have been rivers millions of years ago. In comparison, researchers have found less non-spinosaurid teeth. Only about 1 to 5% of the teeth found in this area are non-spinosaurid. Number 6, The long neck of a Spinosaurus would have been useful for moving rapidly underwater to catch agile fish swimming by number 7.